welcome to Love Tips and Velvet Lips. I am so happy that you are here. Um, yes, good. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. I am Marla Renee Stewart here live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on the gram. So super excited to be here today. We are going to be talking about flirting. But before we get to talk about flirting, of course, I would love to know your questions. You know, you can always feel free to DM me your questions, any kind of love, intimacy questions. I'm happy to answer those for you. If you haven't downloaded my erotic activity bucket list, please make sure you go and do that. And you can just go to velvetlips.kit.com/VL bucket list for that. And of course, you can always check the calendar to see what kind of classes are coming up. This week, I do have the Art of Alluring Unicorns class. So if you are interested in pursuing a unicorn and having a unicorn be an active member in your dynamic, that would be fantastic. So please come on through and check that out. And of course, you can always go to my links to see what kind of classes I got, what you want, what you need, and lots of classes on demand. So please make sure you check that out. All right, y'all, let's get to the meat of it, to the heart, because I know it's late. I'm like 30 minutes late, but you know what? It is what it is, and I'm here now. So with that said, we are going to be talking about flirting. And as much as I talk about flirting, you know, I talk about the seduction learning styles, I talk about auditory, kinesthetic, I talk about visual seduction and what that means. A lot of times people are like, okay, well, is that just flirting? And the long answer is no, it's not, right? Basically, it is flirting is really, flirting has no end goal, right? I love to flirt. I think flirting is fun. It can be playful. And when you're an extrovert like me, it's really kind of easy to flirt and navigate because it's sort of like a fun balancing act, a fun little game, right? To play. And the difference really, again, flirting versus seduction is that really seduction has an end goal, right? There are things that you want to get to and, you know, people you want to seduce, like there's somebody you want to have a connection with. And so if you are wanting to have a connection with that person, then that means you are doing things that would allure them to connect with you. Okay. So again, flirting is fun, playful. There's no end game, right? It's just kind of like loose flirtation. I know you're not supposed to use the word with the definition, but you know, it's a loose, fun dynamic, right? A little game. And where you get to practice, right? Your maybe it's something you say, or maybe it's a technique you have, or you know, whatever that case is, you can practice those things, and there's no real intent behind the flirting. It's just to flirt, right? Whereas seduction is really about like, hey, I'm going in, and there's meaning behind this flirting. Like I'm flirting because I'm trying to draw you in, right? There's an end game to it. And so that is the major difference when it comes to flirting versus seduction. Now, flirting, on the other hand, is really, it's really fun. And when I teach my class, I often talk about cautious flirting, right? And cautious flirting is really kind of like, hey, we are kind of checking in, right? Checking in to see what is really going on here. And that is that's a way of getting someone's temperature around, you know, hey, this is what I'm interested in you, and maybe you're interested in me, but I'm not really sure yet. So let's kind of figure this out together, right? That is cautious flirting. Hey y'all, good to see you here. With that said, it's you know, when we think about the cautious flirting piece, there's things that we can do, right? So flirting can consist of talking, not only talking to someone, but really complimenting them, right? Really finding a connection, really finding something that you have in common with them. And what's particularly interesting about that is when you are flirting with someone or you're giving them a compliment, you want to compliment on things they can control, right? Good morning, Central Sweet Coaching. Good to see you here. So you want to compliment them on something that they can control, right? Maybe it's the brim of their glasses. You're like, oh, those are cute. Oh, hey, right? Or maybe it's their jewelry, or maybe it's their outfit, something that they wore. Maybe it is, it's something that they can control. You really should stay away from things that they cannot control. Okay. Like their skin color or their hair texture or something along those lines, right? Oftentimes I get mixed messages sometimes around like even eyes, right? Because you can't control your eyes or your eye color or anything like that. So that could be like, oh, your eyes. Yeah, but I can't control any of that. So sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a not so good thing, you know what I mean? So yeah. So with that said, you want to compliment them on something that is changeable, something that they can fix, or that they can change in some way, shape, or form. I often talk about sort of personal space within flirting, right? Because here in the US, we think about personal space, right? And we think about like, hey, personal space is within arm's length, right? And if we are joining someone into our personal space, we are basically saying, like, hey, it's okay to sort of be here in this way. And what's particularly interesting about that is that it's different for different countries, right? So if you go to like Italy, right, personal space is like here. That is personal space. And if someone's that close to your personal space, you're like, okay, you're in my personal space, but I see it's really close. Y'all are really close in this country. But really stepping into someone's personal bubble is a really great way to kind of understand, like, hey, maybe they're interested in me, maybe they're not. If they step back, that means, hey, they probably don't want you to be near them or be in their bubble. And so that is a really good indicator, especially for people who are neurodivergent or folks who maybe are, socially awkward, maybe, have to understand like, oh, hey, if you're in my space and I like you, then that's okay to be in my space. But if you're not, then I know I can step back and you have an understanding of like, hey, you shouldn't be in this space, right? So there's that. There's also I always say when you're doing some cautious flirting, you want to make someone an offer. And I think making them an offer is a really great way of saying, like, hey, I have something unique and valuable about myself that I'd like to share with you. Right. And when you make them an offer, this can be a casual offer. So this could be like, I would love to take you out for a cup of coffee, or I would love to fix your favorite meal. Or, people tell me I'm a really good cook. So, let me fix you a meal. Or people tell me I'm really great with my hands. Like, I would love to offer you a massage, no strings attached, if you're interested. And so having that kind of offer, casual offer, or, let me take you out to dinner or a date or something along those lines, that could be helpful. Or, whatever the case may be, it doesn't necessarily have to involve money or whatnot, but just really making them an offer, wanting them to feel like, oh, hey, you have something. And people always like to take advantage of something, right? That you may have. That's why we, as humans, we are often, exchanging, bit by bit in the world. Okay. So with that said, though, there's also, if you finally get into like, oh, hey, you start having the maybe flirtatious conversation or intimacy conversation, like moving that direction where it is starting to get a little bit more romantic, then you can offer them a romantic offer, right? So, you could say something along the lines of like, people tell me I'm really great with my hands. And like, I would love to give you a really nice erotic massage. I don't know. Or maybe, people tell me my mouth is amazing and it feels good on them. And I would really love to make out with you if you're open to that, right? So making them a romantic offer or romantic gesture can also be a really great way to connect. But understand, flirting can come in all sorts of different ways, right? I mean, winking, right, can be flirty. The things you say, if you're really witty, oh my gosh, I adore witty people because I'm just like, I do not have the gift of gab. I be trying though, I be trying. But when you have the gift of gab, things, your mind runs I feel like a little bit faster. And you're able to get that, that wittiness about you, wittiness out. And so I really do like the wittiness banter. So when people are witty with each other, that can be really sexy and flirtatious. So, of course, an eye wink, some witty banter, maybe some even light touching, right? So if you're in their personal bubble and you're like, hey, you are, touching someone, their personal, or you're in their personal bubble and they kind of reach out and touch you, that's a little flirtatious as well, right? So again, there's certain things that you can do that can really have you understand that, hey, we are flirting, we are having fun, this is something we are doing together, and it can really be nice. So with that said, I hope you are doing some flirting of your own. I definitely challenge you this week to flirt with, your favorite person or maybe a person that you desire. I inspire you. I hope you can, or I encourage you to flirt with a lover. Like if you already have a lover, please flirt with your lover. See how that goes, right? See what you do. It could get, again, a light touch, a wink, making them an offer to make out, right? All these little things you can do to really connect with someone. Those are the things that keep you together, right? Those are the things that keep things hot, interesting, fun, exciting. So, Sensual Sweet Coaching, thank you so much. I'm glad you love these. And so, there's lots of different ways to flirt. It's more so, what do you feel comfortable doing and how you are able to connect and flirt with the people you want to flirt with, right? Sometimes I love like dancing or like dancing up on somebody. That is a really fun way for me to flirt. So I've been doing flirting, touching with my new temp roommate. Nice, nice. So I love that. Yeah, like a nice little flirty, touchy. That can always be really, really fun for people. So, especially if they're kinesthetic tactile, because if they're tactile, they're going to be like really paying attention, right? But again, you have to remember using those seduction learning styles. Are they visual? Are they auditory? Are they tactile? And understanding those dynamics can really up your game when it comes to flirtation. So again, if you haven't downloaded my class yet, please make sure you take a look at it. It's free. It's on my website. It's called The Art and Science of Seduction. So please make sure you check that out. Again, it's a free class. Can't go wrong with free, and it'll change your life. I promise you. It changes mine all the time, every day. I just see people in a whole different lens now, and I'm able to connect better because of that. So, all right, y'all. With that said, again, please make sure you check out my calendar. You can always go to velvetlipsexed.com/calendar. You can check out all of my different classes on my website. Again, we're doing the Art of Luring Unicorns. That's this week. And we have effective negotiation at the end of this month. So, make sure you sign up for those classes. If you haven't signed up for SDS yet, please make sure you do that. This year's theme is Spiritual Awakening. It's amazing. The lineup is fire. The presenters are just phenomenal. So please, you can use my code MarlaSDS. to get that, to make that happen. Okay. To get 20% off your registration. So I think that's it, y'all. Oh, look at that. I got one more little comment here. This is the pot thai lady. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome. Glad you are here. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Again, if you have any kind of intimacy questions, please feel free to DM me. You can always go to qrco.de/lovetipsama to submit them. And I will be happy to do that. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I will see you all next week. Okay. Have a wonderful Monday. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Your homework, go flirt with somebody. And yeah, or come to my class. All right, y'all. Love y'all. See you all. And have a wonderful, wonderful, and amazing day. Bye-bye.